All right, chat. We are watching Dean Withers. Deanie the Meanie.
How? How do you still happen to support this fool?
I mean, it's policies. A question before I do get into that: is it true that you're quitting debating soon?
No, it's not true that I'm quitting debating soon.
Or not on TikTok?
No, it's not true. We were able to get the trolls under control for the most part. This, Last Guest would be an example for the most part. So you support him because of his policies. Which ones? Oh, seeing an invite to turn that mic on. I don't know if you turned it off or if I turned it off. If I turned it off, my apologies. Just what policies of Trump's makes you support him as president?
I'm going to start with the gun laws. Kamala Harris did not have a good policy with that, so.
Okay, what was her policy on that?
She wanted the assault weapons banned.
Okay, and? I mean, I don't see an issue with that. You'd still have everything necessary for home defense and more. Okay, you could still get a handgun, you could still get an SBR, you could still get a shotgun. Okay, like, what do you need an AR for?
If the government turns on you and all that, just to defend yourself, that's...
Well, I know. That's why I said that even in consideration of assault weapons ban, you would still have everything required to defend yourself, either in a circumstance of tyranny, which you're not going to be able to win that war because the government has nukes now, or just home defense. You have handguns, SBRs, some PDWs, other quote-unquote pistols that aren't actually pistols at all, and you have shotguns. I mean, what do you need a long barrel AR for? All that I'm saying is that it doesn't seem to be the case that a long barrel AR is going to be necessary for home defense. And in fact, it's typically not really highlighted as a good weapon for home defense because of the length of the barrel. And we saw with the implementation of the AR ban in the 90s to the early 2000s that there was a pretty significant reduction in deaths from assault weapons. And we have a really big issue on our hands with gun casualties in America. We're averaging over one mass shooting per day. Maybe that's a step in the right direction.
Wait a minute.
I mean, I just think that with the assault weapons, and if the government turns on you, like the Second Amendment is a big thing. And
I know, but you have other better weapons to defend yourself. You have other better weapons to defend. I've already went through this.
But I mean, it's a big thing.
I don't What? What is happening right now? I think it only does that when I leave the video.
Thing for rights.
What kind of guns do you own?
I have a 12 gauge. I do have a handgun, and I'm looking into improving my thing as I move.
You don't even have an AR, and you're complaining about a ban on ARs. Would you use a long barrel AR for home defense?
Yeah.
No.
Well,
that's kind of the point. That's kind of the point of the AR ban, is ARs really don't seem to be that meaningful. The only function of an AR is shooting at the range or killing people. Okay, but there's other guns that you could shoot at the range that frankly are cooler than long barrel ARs, like 300 blackout SBRs with a suppressor on the end. It seems like, therefore, the only real reason for owning ARs is for killing people. Okay.
I think home defense is a little bit different if your country were, per se, or the government was to turn on you. Second Amendment. My family's also huge Trump supporters, so I've just...
Oh my God. If the country turns on you, it doesn't matter if you have an AR, an SBR, a PDW, a handgun, a shotgun. They're going to kill you because they have nukes now.
But do you think I would have a better chance, per se?
No, I don't understand why you'd argue that you'd have a better chance at defending yourself with a long barrel AR compared to a short barrel PDW. No, I don't understand why you'd argue that you'd have a better chance. No. Why would you have a better chance?
I think we as a people would put up a much better fight.
Why?
Against
Why
the
would we as a people put up a much better fight with long-barreled ARs compared to short-barrel PDWs?
Because
Why?
if
What's
you
the
have
argument for that?
300 million people with ARs versus 300 million people with like a handgun or a knife, I think that's a
Okay, well,
big difference.
I don't think that we have 300 million people with ARs, but even if we did, okay, they'd keep those ARs. You understand that, like, when we ban weapons, we don't take the weapons away from the people that already own them. And honestly, for the most part, at least in the past, we haven't even banned the private sale of the guns manufactured before the ban was implemented. Like, you could still buy fully automatic guns produced before the 70s, but I think that's little bit problematic in of its own. I just think that you're kind of like out of your depth as it relates to conversations surrounding guns in the Second Amendment, which is quite ironic because you're talking to somebody on the left. I just happen to know my shit.
You know how many deaths from ARs there were in 2024?
Enough to matter,
What's up, y'all?
meaning
Welcome
at
to
minimum
stream.
one. I would assume what, like
Give me a number.
couple hundred, 500?
A couple hundred, 500. Even if there's one, what about all those illegal immigrants? You always say,
Oh, whoa! And we want
doesn't
to pivot
matter.
to undocumented entry. Okay,
No,
so
no,
you're
I'm not-
completely
no.
conceding on the whole like gun
No,
part,
no,
right?
no, 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 no. I'm not pivoting, but you just said, oh, one.
RX, welcome to chat. Welcome to stream. We're watching Dean Withers, Deanie Tha Meanie. He literally just debates people, and you're going to see the way that he debates. He debates people literally just he just talks shit. He just talks a lot of shit instead of just getting straight. Well, he gets straight to the point, but he gets straight to a disrespectful point. That's what I'm trying to. That's all I'm really trying to say. So let's watch this. Deanie Tha Meanie.
Only one matters when, in
Yeah.
reality, when you're looking at illegal, all that.
Yeah.
Really, one.
Well, see, the thing is that the Democrats were actually more successful at deporting the undocumented immigrants with violent crimes on their records. Upward numbers today fallen below 5% under Trump because he's more focused on the nonviolent undocumented immigrants. That the means that he's used to achieve that end goal have been good because he's just scaring those entries away by violating human rights, killing innocent people, and infringing on our Constitution. Talk about maybe the fact that you just said.
But the thing is, how do you know? Like, you can't just let people in the country. Okay, yeah, well, oh, they weren't doing any crime, so it's okay. It didn't matter. They should be able to come inside. Dude, if we just let people in the country, I don't think people understand. If we just let people in the country, like, okay, yeah, the Mexico and Canada, okay, it's really just Mexico. It's really doing it. Okay, so if it's easy for Mexicans to get in, for people from Mexico, I should say, if it's easy for people from Mexico to get in here, and we just make it easier. We don't try to make it harder. We just, whatever, we should let them in, whatever. They're just here for a better life. That's all they really want. Don't you think that other countries are going to do the same thing? Don't you think that other countries are going to try to come into America from Mexico and cause damage? Because that's all they have to do is come into America from Mexico. And then you could say, oh, well, it doesn't happen. Well, it's not happening. Well, it's not happening. So. Dude, do you want to wait till it happens? Are you serious? This is it shouldn't even be up for debate. Don't let illegal immigrants in. That's it.
Oh, one matters. We need to deport all undocumented immigrants because one of them might be a rapist, but then you turn around and you make a known adjudicated rapist president. That sounds a little bit hypocritical.
Well, that's good you said that 5% because he's doing such a good job, and that 5% means that there's not as many. So
the Democrats before him did 20.
Big fucking wood.
And well, I think I twisted my words there, but you said he raped somebody.
Yep.
They weren't doing as many.
How so? Didn't taxpaying American prove you wrong on that?
Nope, doesn't seem like he did. He raped somebody because he forcefully penetrated her vagina with his fingers.
But taxpaying American said that that in the state of New York that actually doesn't qualify as that, or that doesn't fall under that. And New York went through all these legal processes to try and like
Oh,
make
whoa,
it
whoa. And
much
the state of New
worse
York
than
does.
it
Wait,
was.
wait, 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 wait. Wait, when I say that he raped a woman, I'm saying that he forcefully penetrated a woman's vagina with any part of his body. I would say that the action that he engaged in is reflective of rape. Okay, I don't care what the law says. Why would I care what the law says? I care what he did. If the law said that it's only
It's not rape, it's molestation. Neither is good, but you gotta get your terminology right, Dean. It's not good. And the man should definitely be he should be behind bars for it. It shouldn't be civilly liable. No, he's guilty. He was fucking guilty. There should, oh my god, dude. We'll call it what it is. He molested that woman, and he should be behind bars for as many years as somebody who raped somebody. As many years. You should be in jail for as much time for doing either. But let's call it what it is so that we can, cuz again, every state considers it different. Okay? So in a state where they do say that it's molestation, where they do have a molestation charge, they need to be behind bars for the same amount of time because no. And I believe they do because it's a different charge. Like you can be, the charges can be less, and that I don't agree with. That I don't agree with. So that we do need to call it what it is, and we do need to give it the same uh consequences as rape. Definitely.
rape when,
Call it
you
what it is,
know, they're not married. Would I then like reject the fact that a man who chained down his wife and forcefully penetrated her vagina with his penis was a rapist? Like, no. Because I would call him a rapist reflective of the action that he engaged in directed towards that woman. The same way I call Trump a rapist reflective of the action that he engaged in directed towards Agent Carroll, regardless of what the law said.
I mean, yeah, you went on and said that, but like when you were debating Taxpaying American a while back, I watched that video.
You get to 5 mentions of his names, I'm going to kick you. So if you want to run, feel free. You're already at 3. But anyways, what's your counter argument?
I was just saying that you dropped him by when he was telling you that it wasn't the case.
Okay,
and
do
that
you have a
actually-
counter argument to the position that I just gave you in response to you claiming that it's not a rapist because that's not what the law of the state of New York said? Do you have a response or no? I'm not interested in talking about other people. I'm interested in your response to my counter argument of your position. Are you going to give one?
I mean, I was just talking about a previous conversation you had with a gentleman, but if you're gonna run from me like you did from him, then
Well, we're not here to talk about previous conversations with anybody. We're here to talk about what you believe in and why. You told me that you believe Donald Trump is not a rapist for the reason being that what he did not qualify legally as rape in a state. I want you to respond to my response, which was, I don't give a fuck what the law says. When I call somebody a rapist, I'm calling them a rapist reflective of an action that they get engaged in directed towards another individual. I'm not calling them a rapist reflective of what the law considers their action to be that they engaged in or did not engage in directed towards another individual. So please respond to the fact that I think Trump is a rapist because he forcefully penetrated a woman's vagina with his fingers against her will.
I mean, I was using a previous debate to back up my evidence, but
That's fine. You could like repeat something somebody else said. That's okay. But
Yes,
repeat
that's
it. What's the
doing.
response?
Because there was no evidence of that, and I don't get why you get so triggered by a name.
Okay, so there was no evidence of that. So that's abundantly false. There was enough evidence to convince the unanimous jury, including a juror that was a Trump supporter, and then 5 appeals courts that all rejected Donald Trump's appeal, including the Supreme Court, which is 6-3 conservative leaning and includes 2 of Donald Trump's own appointments. That's a pretty ironclad legal case. I can't lie.
I mean, it was all her just saying it happened. There was no real evidence, and I guess
Oh,
the
I know.
guy that
I
guy just
completely reject that.
it,
I
it,
think that's felonious. I think that's false. I mean, we did have our testimony, but we also have to consider that she had kept that testimony consistent for 30 years, and we also have to consider that she had 3 of her friends corroborate that. We also have to consider that there were 4 other women who accused Trump that testified under penalty of perjury that they that he did this something similar to them. We also have
None
to
of them
consider
did
that
a
she had the
police
dress that
report.
she was raped in, that
No
she had
police
submitted to the
report. You
court, claimed it
interrupted me,
had
so I'll
Donald Trump's
just
DNA
interject.
on it, and then Donald Trump refused to submit his own DNA to the court to test against the DNA on the dress. We have to consider Donald Trump's lies and his testimony, like when he lied and claimed that he never met her, which she debunked by giving a picture of them together to the court, or his lie that he never would have raped her because she wasn't his type, but then he confused a photo of her to be his ex-wife Marla Maples, who was his type. We also have to consider just the type of person Trump is. Like in 2005, he literally said that he likes to grab women by their vaginas without asking first. And this court found him guilty of grabbing a woman by her vagina without asking first. And I would say the most important thing for us to consider is we all know that sexual predators are among the most likely to recommit their crime. And Donald Trump in 2005 admitted to other crimes of men. Most Trump. On the same way Speed says green apple when he wants to end his life. You're in the middle of doing so, and I cut you off.
And just kick me because taxpaying American put you in a commotion, and you're gonna kick me.
There's a safe word. All right, he wants to run. Thanks for admitting that I gave you an argument that you couldn't defeat. I would honestly thank you. See, the thing is most Trump supporters are very right, you know.
My whole thing is all this dude can ever like. He has a good argument. He has a good argument with Trump being a sexual predator. No, 100%. I agree. The man should be out of office just because he's a predator. Just because he's a predator. But as a debater, dude, when you're debating Trump supporters, they just don't seem to care, dude. You gotta you. Oh my god, they just don't seem to care. You gotta come at him with something else. You gotta in he does, but it just seems like it revolves around the same 3 or 4 topics, and it's like, dude. Okay, I'm gonna guess one of the next topics. Either he's gonna say the same thing about Donald Trump being a sexual predator. He's going to say something about abortion. He's going to say something about trans, or I'll just say LGBTQ plus IA LMAO whatever. He's gonna say something about that, or I don't even know what else, bro. Like it's like those same 3 things. Oh my god, dude.
Just letting you know. Let's go to get the next guest connected. Only do hop inside of the queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Donald J. Trump as president. Over on Super Chat, Mr. Chris, thank you for the $50 over on Super Chat. If you want to come up on the live and debate, Mr. Chris, because you said, dude, guess me already, you can on TikTok. Just make sure to hop in that queue. I do really appreciate you for the $50 dono. That is very, very kind of you, my friend. Thank you, Chris. As well as Too Tall Jones with the $10. Who says, I don't agree with this dude on anything, but Dean, your arguments against AR-15s was very weak. I'd love to debate you on it sometime, but I don't support Trump, so I can't under current rules. Well, I mean, yeah, that argument was kind of won in the moment of. I guess if you think the argument is weak, I'll make it stronger. How about that? Rodney, thank you for the $20, who says, Dean, Carol's lawyer said that they had so much evidence that they didn't use half of it. Also, the quote-unquote spirit of law would say it's rape. Absolutely, Rodney. Thank you so much for the $20. I do really appreciate you. Thank you, man. Over on Vimeo, thank you, Samantha, for the $10. Who says, I'm the only liberal in my family and used to be MAGA, but watching you made me change. I love it. I love it so much, Samantha. That's awesome. Sophia, thank you for the $10 donation. I really appreciate you. And then Amy, thank you for the $25 dono, who says, I'm a 59-year-old grandma with a grandson your age. You always give me hope for the future. Dean, you have a good heart. Keep on doing what you do. Much love from Montana. Well, much love to you. Much love to Montana. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for the $25 donation, Amy. I'm very, very grateful for you. As well as JC, thank you so much for the $10. I do really appreciate you, and I couldn't agree with your message more. Bailey, I appreciate you so much for the $50 donation. I will honor that request. I do really appreciate you. Let's get 500 Bailey W's. Thank you so much for that love and support. Let's get, that's a shit ton of money. I'm very grateful for you. Let's get 500 Bailey W's down below. As well as Chris, thank you for the $55, who says you need to guess that the last prophet so we could actually have an educated conversation. The last prophet. I'll take a look for you. Welcome in, Santana.
Hey, and you know, if they're gonna repeat an argument, why would they pick like the shittiest person argument to repeat? Like that doesn't make sense to me.
On God, dude, on God. Jolie, thank you for the $5. Linda, thank you for the $10. She says, I've been listening for a couple weeks and I just want to say how much I appreciate you and what you do. Oh, thank you, Linda. Fussy, thank you for the $6. Magnolia, thank you for the $10. She says, Dean, I got my formerly MAGA dad to start watching your streams and I swear to God, it's genuinely changed him. He doesn't support MAGA anymore and he's come such a long way. I love that. That is fucking awesome, Magnolia. Oh my goodness, you are awesome. Lux, thank you for the $25 donation. Who says, Dean, when I was 13 years old, I was raped. I was terrified to tell anybody because I thought I would get in trouble. I'm 18 now and listening to you helps me feel validated. Thank you so much for everything that you do, Lux. I'm so sorry to hear that happened to you. I believe you. We all believe you and we all love you too. Thank you for tuning in. I'm happy that the streams helped to make you feel validated, and genuinely, I'm so fucking sorry that happened to you. Thank you. Thank you so much for the $25, Lux. I hate that, man. That is super duper sad. Jamie, shout out to you for the Galaxy. Miley, thank you for the $10. Who says, happy birthday, Dean, love you. It is not my birthday. Sophia, thank you for the $20. Who says, you're the best. I appreciate you for that love, Sophia. Cam, thank you for the $1. Jason, thank you for the $5. And Jessica, thank you for the $10. I'll make sure that I check it out. And Janaea, thank you for the $50. My goodness, Janaea, thank you so much. Janaea with a 50 says, a friend and I recently ended a friendship over an abortion debate. Ironically, when when in my family fell ill, she said, good. I hope he dies. She was also pro-death penalty. Pro-lifers are just really pro-birthers, in my opinion. Yeah, she sounds like a really shitty person. I'm sorry that you had somebody like that in your life, and I'm happy that you don't anymore. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then Jess, thank you for the $10 as well. Thank you. I appreciate that. And funny comment, Jess.
I don't. You shouldn't be ending friendships over political differences, dude. You shouldn't be ending any relationships over political differences. This is all modern bullshit. And it's not really that serious. It's not. I'm really hungry, chat. I'm gonna purchase some Sonic right now. Let's continue watching.
JB, welcome in.
Hey, well, nice to talk to you again, Dean. Good to see you. Good to see you up here.
Spoken before?
Yes, sir.
Oh, and you're a Trump supporter still?
Yeah, man.
So you just don't care about him threatening to invade our allies? You just don't care about him threatening to genocide 90 million people? You just don't care about him doing that?
Well, I wouldn't say not care, but I would say, some mixed feelings. But, and I hate to see some comments like that just came in from one of your listeners, about how political arguments, can ruin relationships and families and stuff. People should sit back, and enjoy their life with their families a little more, and less on the politics. But that aside, it's nice to see your economy's doing really well right now. You just gave like a 3-minute advertisement for how great the economy is.
Wait.
Now.
I don't want you to speed past that. It's always the people on the right who are like, we shouldn't let politics get in between us, while you guys literally elected a 34 count felon, a rapist, someone who is tearing at the fabrics of our country, like trying to rip up the Constitution, who is, trying to exile anyone that's not a straight white Christian in America. But, I guess we should just, keep politics out of family while the person you guys elected is destroying everything.
Exactly. What are you arguing here, Santana? I mean, what would you like to see happen when people disagree? Are you calling for, anything more than just a political engagement and commentary? Or what exactly are you? calling for?
Well, what I'm calling for is something that my wife, the smartest person that I know, says a lot, but something I actually heard Dean say the other day. The best apology is change behavior. So if you actually see that your vote is leading to more destruction in our country, maybe change your behavior and get on the right side of history.
Is it change my behavior, or is it agree with you?
No, change your behavior and support someone who's not going to destroy the Constitution, who's not going to destroy the economy, who's not going to destroy any type of morals that we're supposed to have as a country.
Okay. So at the end of the day, what this is you don't want people to disagree with you, right? But that's what's great about this country, that we can disagree
Listen,
freely.
I don't mind people
differences
disagreeing
in
with
opinion.
me. I don't mind people disagreeing with me on some things, but I do mind people disagreeing with me on other things. Like if you disagree with me on a subject and in virtue of that disagreement, you promote and generate a plethora of harm. Yeah, it's like I'm going to care that you disagree with me, not because you disagree with me, but because that disagreement has led to and has generated monuments of harm. So I think that you're making a bad faith argument. It's the harm that your beliefs have led to that I care about, not the fact that I disagree with them.
Yeah.
So much harm that you've just probably earned $1,000 in the last 10 minutes or so. Right? Is that harm? Is that what
I've
your
not earned
definition of harm is?
$1,000 in the last 10 minutes. No, I've not. But
Also,
why are you so concerned about my donations? You've mentioned them twice now. What's your
It's
obsession?
a signal towards what the economy is,
No, it's actually
how the
not.
economy is doing.
No, it's certainly not.
I disagree. I think it's more so a signal that people want Dean to keep fighting this tyranny that is the Trump administration. Because if, the people that support us give us the opportunity to do this on a daily basis, and Dean doing what he does is literally pushing back on the right-wing echo chamber that continues to actually push out misinformation and disinformation. It's literally people like
Santana, can I
doing
interrupt
their
right
part
there and
to
ask
fight.
you? Can I interrupt right there and ask you if
I'm
the left,
not
if
sure
the
why
left
you
has an
interrupt.
Well,
echo chamber as well?
I want Santana to be able to finish speaking. So go ahead, Santana.
I would appreciate it. Yeah, the whole
So
point
two people can
is
finish
that
speaking
people.
here, not me.
God.
The whole point that I'm making is people put money behind the things that they care about, and obviously they care enough about what's being done on these live streams to actually support. Not that the economy is amazing, but people feel like it's important enough to actually put their dollars behind it to, help keep this going.
Yeah. Also, I also want to point out that 100 people are not representative of the function of an economy in which includes 340 million people. And when somebody says that the economy is performing poor, they're not saying that everyone is poor. They're just saying that people are at a higher likelihood of being poor. Even
What
during the
number-
Great Depression, people made billions of dollars. So
What number makes a statistic sample valid, Dean? It's 20. So 100 is a lot more than 20.
okay.
And to say that there's no indicator of how the broader economy is doing, I think is a
Wait, where did you
not
get that
such a
from?
great argument.
Where
I got that
did
from
you get that from?
statistics.
So just 20 of anything.
Makes a sample valid, and you can look at those definitions and
So
take
20
it for
out
what
of
it is.
350 Americans would make it valid.
20. Okay, so you just referenced a sample out of a population, right?
Yeah, you said 20. So 20 people out of 350, would it make that valid?
Yes.
Holy fuck.
That's funny as hell. Okay. Next question. Do you agree that when the economy is performing poorly, there are still a lot of people with a lot of money?
Repeat that question. I'm sorry, Dean.
Do you agree that when the economy is performing poorly, there will still be a lot of people with a lot of money? Just less people than there would be if the economy was performing better?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. So that's why I think that your argument fails. I definitely agree with
Yeah,
you
but-
that there are
but, I mean,
a bunch of people who donate to me who more likely than not are filthy fucking rich. I could definitely think of a couple names that come to my head where I'm like, whoa, okay. These people are balling,
So
but what I will say is that because that doesn't mean that the economy is not performing poorly. It just means that even when the economy does perform poorly, that some people are still balling.
Well, but it does also say something that they've got money and they're willing to put it to something that they believe in, whatever it is, and that's
Yeah,
fine.
but that
They
doesn't
can do
mean
that.
that it's not true that the economy is performing poorly. Because you just
I mean,
accepted that when the economy is
it does
performing
mean that
poorly,
they're-
there's still going to be a lot of people with a lot of money.
but it does mean that they're confident in sending dollars out. That is something
Yeah.
for that's not necessarily, particularly a need or an immediate need that's like for survival.
People with an abundance of financial resources typically do feel confident spending their financial resources on things that are not needed for survival. And you and me both just agree that a lot of those people
speculating on what have that data
definitely balling. But can you agree with me? The
bell curve, the basic bell curve.
Do you agree? I want a yes or no. When the economy is performing poorly, this does not mean that there's zero people with disposable income. This just means that there's less people with disposable income.
One way or another, but it's not always that simple. And I would make the case that, or I would argue and speculate and admit that I'm speculating that the majority of your donors aren't
because if your
super
standard,
volume.
one moment, clearly it is that simple. Because if your definition of the economy performing poorly was zero people having disposable income, well, then you would argue that the economy has never performed poorly. Not during the Great Depression, not during the dot-com bubble, not during the Great Recession, not in 2020. You'd argue that the economy has never performed poorly because there's never been a point where there's been zero people with disposable income with a job. When the economy was performing the best, you turn around and you say, oh, Dean, because people are donating to you, this clearly indicates that some people have disposable income. That's not actually a performing economy is zero people with disposable income.
That's right. And then you went on to name like 5 days that Trump is
Q1 of 2025 because they were like selling less and stockpiling more. I think Biden imposed his own new tariffs on China on their EVs. And I'm not a fan of that either.
He revamped some of the actual. He kept a few of them.
I think both of the economies were shit. This current administration's economy and the economy of Biden's administration, they're both kind of dog, if I'm being honest. But I don't know. Let's see where this economy can get, I guess.
But he revamped the actual tariffs to better position them.
Yeah, and I don't even like that either. I would love to, own and drive a BYD. But I mean, those are specific tariffs on specific industries in a specific country. So even if they are negatively impactful on the economy, like their impact is going to be very minimal, and it's going to be industry and sometimes even sub-industry, like specific was the imposition of wide blanket tariffs on every other country in the world.
To the negotiating table in order to construct a new trade agreement that is specific to that country and specific to different sectors and industries and products.
You could make up all of the quasi-justification and just spin it out of nonsense that you want. None of this changes the fact that those tariffs hurt the economy. And then your second point was about, Dean, how do you know that it's the tariffs compared to AI? Well, that one's really easy because AI replacing jobs would be technological advancement, right? And with technological advancements, you have increases in productivity, which leads to increased GDP growth. But due to the fact that we also had recessed GDP growth in 2025 in comparison to 2024, we know that we couldn't attribute the downward trend in jobs to any technological advancements, including AI.
Well, everybody knows that technological advancements happen much faster than regulatory advancements, right? And a lot of that manufacturing, has to change. Factories don't get built overnight, and you know that.
Okay,
Santana knows that.
So then you accept that, therefore AI wouldn't be the explanation for why millions of people lost their jobs overnight.
AI was actually one of the best performing sectors within our economy. Like AI literally propped up the economy in multiple quarters. Like, you're just wrong.
How, bro?
Wrong that
AI literally cost. I can't remember which state it was. Fuck, might have been Colorado where he's from. I don't know, bro. A bunch of people lost their houses. Forcibly, they had to sell their houses because data centers are apparently it's not verbatim, but like apparently they're like they're necessary for society.
AI
I'm
was just
wrong in that
causing
AI
people
is
their
taking
jobs.
jobs away already? Is that your
Yes, because
argument
they
that
haven't
AI is
developed
not
AI
taking
to the
jobs right
point.
now?
Yes, because they haven't developed AI to the point of being able to take anyone's job.
Tina, thank you for the future city. Trump has destroyed the economy. Remember, you the center point towards too. Like Donald Trump's funds, the largest monthly increase in inflation for groceries since in 4 years. And the Federal Reserve said that if it wasn't for
I don't know, groceries. I'm in Michigan, and they do seem like they're
Trump's tariffs,
getting lower. Like for sure. Like not even. I'm not even. This is just what I see at not one grocery store. All of the grocery stores I go to, every single one of them that I see now. And I go to a lot of grocery stores. I go to a lot of grocery stores. Food's getting cheaper. So, I mean, food it did cost more in the beginning of his administration because of the previous administration. So I don't know what he's talking about. Like it's literally food is literally getting cheaper. There's not and we're getting better food now. We're getting food without fucking artificial dyes in it. We're getting food without we're getting more protein in our food. Protein seems to be the big focus. McDonald's is talking about here's your protein picks. You know what I'm saying? Like even we're seeing even in places where McDonald's is unhealthy, So we're seeing with even the unhealthy places they're trying to show ways to be healthier. I don't know. Don't get McDonald's thinking you're being healthy or anything. I'm just saying, like for instance, Doritos has new protein Doritos. They have new protein Doritos now. That I actually fuck with them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. You get them with some cheese dip, fire. I'm talking about fire. Is barbecue or nacho cheese for the protein ones. 10 grams protein for 10 chips. That's pretty good. So while you're snacking, while you're wanting something for a snack, you go and eat some Doritos, and they fill you up. I'm not gonna lie. You only need about maybe a good 20-25 of them for a man. You're satisfied. Like you don't want any more food. You don't need it. You don't need it. You're like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I just ate. Because you did. You ate some protein. Anyways, food's getting cheaper, food's getting better. Things do seem like they're getting better, and this guy he's just worried about numbers. Like, yeah, oh yeah, Donald is worse than Donald Trump because his presidency. His presidency is worse. It's worse because of the start of the presidency, dude. Food's way lower at the start of his presidency. Way lower.
and now is war in Iran, we'd actually be back at pre-pandemic levels of inflation today. But instead, inflation is higher today than when Trump entered into office.
How can you have your cake and eat it too on this, where you'd say that the war is bad and causing the economy to be bad, but if the war wasn't,
it's not higher than when he took off. It's higher than his last term in office.
Better if the war never happened.
That the war has cost us about
Trump's first term and what was delivered then, which was, I think the data shows, I think most people can agree that the economy was better under Trump than it was under Biden. And on top of that, there are a number of policies that is just too extreme for me on the left that I can't get behind.
What policies did Harris run on that were too extreme?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to get into those. But when I'm going to the ballot box, I'm trying to use history as a gauge, and I'm trying to use the promises that are being made as an indicator of where the party is going. And man, it was getting a little extreme. And I'm sure you've got some things that you think we're extreme on, but
What policies did Harris run on that were too extreme?
yeah, well,
Also, just throwing out that everyone gets a tariff, that's not extreme.
you know that in the definition of extreme, sure, you can call that extreme, but that it's for a purpose, right? It's for a
Yeah.
specific purpose.
We get tariffs from every other damn country, dude. Pretty much. I mean, I don't know about every other country. I'm not gonna go and say that, but again, not gonna say every country, but most other countries, most first world countries. You know what I'm saying? Um, we we like you know, all of us in a whole, not just the United States, but all of us that are in a uh that have civilization, I should say. Tariffs. There's tariffs. What do you mean? They're like, we should be the only country that doesn't do tariffs because it'll make all the other countries feel better. What? No, that's stupid. That's stupid. Now that doesn't mean we should go hard and just have just crazy tariffs. Crazy. Like, I don't even think over 10%. I think that's crazy. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I think it should be somewhere under. Somewhere under, maybe even at 10%. Fine. That's okay. That's okay. The crazy tariffs he had before, no. I wasn't I don't know about all of that. Cuz then it did drive all the prices, and then we're like, "Oh yeah, shit. Most of the stuff in America is from other countries." But then why don't we make more shit in America? And honestly, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the we don't have the resources in America. No, we don't fucking mine for the resources. We don't do what we got to do and get these resources. If we live in one of the largest countries in the world. You can't tell me that in none of our states there's no you can't tell me in none like in none of our states there's no resources where we can make chips, because that's the main thing that we talk about when we say things from other countries, because like it's technology, because other things from other countries we can make. Yeah, we can't make avocados except for in Florida. Yeah, we can't make all of these fruits and vegetables that can only be made in Florida in the United States. Only Florida can do it, and that's the lower portion of Florida. We can't do all that in all the other states. Okay, well that should make Florida a banging fucking state. Florida should be banging right now with produce. There's no reason we shouldn't have, because you think about it, all these farms that we have that are like the like like these small numbers of farms or whatever that control most of the food around the United States, we could have Florida controlling all of the tropical fruits and vegetables in the United States. Because pretty much Florida, there's nothing, I don't know about nothing. There's definitely things, there's like mountainous fruits and vegetables and stuff like that that can't be grown in Florida. Okay. But I would say, what, 90% of the fruits and vegetables around the world that we know and love can be grown in Florida. So that makes Florida a rockin' state right there. And I don't even know how I got on this tangent, to be honest. The resources, yeah. So like we can get resources from all the states. We're just not doing it because we're stupid.
Purpose is to
Yeah,
renegotiate.
a purpose, but that is TOO, not TWO.
Some of them have already been talked about, right? Some of the abortion policy, like you're having some good debates on here, on this live, because that we're up.
Why do you think that Roe v. Wade is too extreme?
I'm giving you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That humans
I'll tell you why it's relevant. What does it mean for a human to thrive?
friendly by
Due to the fact that it lacks the capacity to intellect.
it's
I don't want to hear about abortion, dude. Shut up. Shut up, dude.
Number?
Shut the fuck
Yeah,
up.
23.
Deanie
When it gains the capacity to intellectualize, it's when I begin to value it. That typically occurs at around 20 through 24 weeks.
so
Also,
24 weeks.
that's
is your abortion
science.
done?
That's
Yeah.
science number, J.
Our fetus isn't morally valuable. Backfired. Sure.
No,
I don't think it's our choices that make it.
All right, that was funny to just skip over. The fetus is morally valuable. Oh yeah, it is, but it also it's just dependent, man. It's dependent on everybody. I mean, honestly, some people just don't care as much. Some people care more. And that really is what it comes down to. Some people care more about things in general, not even just this topic. Some people care more about them, some people don't. And in this topic, he is just careless. He just doesn't care about any life. He just doesn't care about life unless his girlfriend cares about it. I don't know, man. I'm hungry. I gotta go get some food. I'll be right back. Oh shit, Chad. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, we gotta let's do this. Wait.
Us valuable. So then why does our species classification or our biological life make us morally valuable? Why?
Well, there's no answer to that question, Dean, because at the state of that the baby is in its development, right? It's not there yet.
So just to clarify, you can't answer the question
and
of why you think. I just want to clarify. You can't answer the question, okay, of why those things make us morally valuable. So this is just completely arbitrary.
Yeah, this whole debate is arbitrary because rather than have a good faith discussion about this,
we are having a good faith discussion.
It seems to be like you're more concerned with the spotlight.
There's nothing bad faith about me asking you why you think our species makes us morally valuable. What's bad faith?
There's nothing bad faith about the question. It's the reaction to my answer.
Laughing at you because you said you couldn't give an answer?
Well, doesn't that signal the faith that somebody comes to a conversation with?
Maybe. I have a side question. Hey, what is our species, JB?
What is our species? Like a Homo sapien?
Homo sapien sapien. Never mind. Keep
You've
going.
You've been bringing the heat tonight, Santana. Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's way above your head. Keep floundering. You were trying to explain to Dean why our species are valuable.
No, I was conveying my disappointment in his good faith effort to have a discussion about abortion.
Stop whining. The point is the reason why you think that abortion should be banned is because you think the fetus is morally valuable because it's a member of our species. Therefore, you think that being a member of our species makes us morally valuable. I asked you a very simple question. Why do you think that being a member of our species makes us morally valuable? And you responded by saying, I don't know. Okay, so in other words, this is a completely subjective and arbitrary judgment that you hold with no good reason. Okay, so we should not be voting for and supporting legislation that prevents and restricts what people can or cannot do with their bodies based upon purely subjective and arbitrary judgments left up to your emotions, underpinned by no good reason.
Yeah, we should. I don't care.
In your opinion.
Okay, so you think that it is okay. It is a just good thing to support legislation that enforces what people can or can't do with their bodies, underpinned by completely arbitrary, baseless emotions with no good reason. So you're pro-slavery. Okay, so you're pro-slavery because that's exactly what white supremacists did. White supremacists made this judgment that black people were significantly less valuable than white people because of a very similar, completely arbitrary, baseless emotion.
And then white people ended slavery. Get over it.
Reason underpinned with no good justification, and then they turned.
Republicans ended slavery. Just to be clear.
Turned around and they voted for legislation to control what other people can or can't do with their bodies because of that completely arbitrary judgment. Okay, so my question for you right here, J-Mac, this is a really big one, really big one, is what is the difference between the grounding that you possess for your claim that our species makes us morally valuable and a white supremacist claim that the color of our skin, our race, is what makes us morally valuable? Because both you and the white supremacists would say our race or our species makes us morally valuable for some arbitrary reason that I can't clearly identify. What's the difference?
Dude, you can't.
I don't even know how to engage with that question. I was raised by parents who, taught me to be kind of respectful to everybody based on what they bring to the table at that moment and at that time, not on their skin color. And so that's what I guess that's the only way that I know how to answer that question.
Okay, so you don't have an answer. You don't have an answer to describe the difference.
Once again, you just don't like my answer.
What was the answer?
He rambled.
That I look at people. Like I don't look at your skin color. People
okay,
bring
that's not an answer to the question that I asked you. That wasn't an answer to the question that I asked you, so I'll ask it again. So you said the reason why we should endorse pro-life legislation is because fetuses are valuable because of their species. And then I asked you why you think it is true that our species makes us morally valuable, and you said, I don't know, I can't give any explanation for why I believe that. The same way a white supremacist couldn't give any explanation for why they believe our race is what makes us morally valuable. So my question is an epistemological question. Okay, a question that questions how we know what we
'Cause then he
know.
goes, if
Okay,
not,
so
then
my
you're racist, you
epistemological
believe in
question is very
slavery.
simple.
Like, what?
What's the difference
What?
between a white supremacist knowing that our race is what makes us morally valuable for unidentifiable, arbitrary, emotional reasons, and you knowing that our species is what makes us morally valuable for some unidentifiable, arbitrary emotions?
Racism is bad because my gut tells me it is, and
I'm not-
murdering
my-
babies
my-
is bad
my-
because my gut tells me it is.
My question,
and sometimes you just have to listen
is
to your
not
gut and what
my
the world
my
makes you
question
feel.
is not okay. My question is not is racism bad. I don't think that you're going to be able to get the question, so I'm
Wait,
going to ask it a
Dean.
different way. Do you think that our gut emotions, okay, track truth?
No, not all the time.
Okay, so then how do you know that this gut emotion tracks truth?
There we go.
You look at patterns over time, and
Patterns? What patterns can you describe to us that justify your claim that this gut emotion that it's wrong to kill a fetus is truly representative of reality?
well, can you hold that statement true over the fetus as it develops through time?
I don't know the
Why
question.
at
I don't know
some
the
point
question
does
that
it
you're asking.
become bad?
No. I'm
Don't run from that
interrogating your
question,
view.
Dean. That's a very
You're
important
burden
question,
shifting.
Dean.
You're burden
No,
shifting.
no,
Yes, you are burden
Dean.
shifting.
You
I'm
are
asking
running
you
from
a
my
question
Dean.
about what you
I
believe in and
actually
why.
really liked your question.
I'm asking you a question about what you believe in and why. You're attempting to burden shift by asking me a question about what I believe in and why. Right now, we are not
You don't answer
interrogating
questions.
what
Democrats
I
don't answer
believe in
questions.
and why. We are interrogating what you believe in and why. And the fact that you're now saying Democrats don't answer questions can be really easily refuted via the fact that you already know why I'm pro-choice because you asked me that question and I explained to you it's because I value the capacity to intellectualize your being bad faith. So I, as I told you, am currently investigating what you believe in and why I want you to answer. You told me that ultimately your belief that abortion is wrong is reducible down to your gut feelings. I then asked you if gut feelings track truth. You said sometimes, not other times. So I want you to answer the following question. How do you know that this gut feeling that it's wrong to kill a fetus tracks truth?
Just my intuition.
Do intuitions track truth?
More often than not.
Okay, so because I intuit that abortion's not wrong, and intuitions are truth tracking, therefore it's true that abortion's not wrong.
He said sometimes, though.
Are we going to end this debate on a circular argument, Dean?
It's
Just
not
like the
circular
last
at
one?
all. No, that's not circular at all. That's a very sound and valid argument according to you, since apparently our intuitions track truth.
So that's the moral conclusion of this debate,
Yep.
then, right?
Yep.
Okay. Wonderful.
So you concede.
No. We just have a difference in moral opinion.
No, we have a different.
Your
We have a
morals are very
difference in
different than
intuition.
my morals.
How do we determine
And
who's in?
the
How do we
point at
determine
which you
whose
value life
intuition
is different from the point at
how do
which
we
I value
how do we
life.
determine whose
And that's
intuition
okay.
is
We
right?
can disagree
And how do
in
we
this
determine
country.
whose intuition
We
is
don't
wrong?
have to always agree on everything, and that's part of what makes
Okay,
this country
well,
so
guess
great.
what? Women and girls can't disagree with you if you want to vote for legislation to legally prohibit them from making the choice in actuation of them disagreeing with you, i.e.
And
the
they
choice to
can.
access
They can.
abortion.
They can go to the ballot box, and they can absolutely do that. I support that. 100%.
Okay. Do you think that it'd be a justified thing for a white supremacist to vote for the re-implementation
Holy
of
shit.
chattel slavery because they intuit it as being permissible?
I don't think that society would at large vote for something like that.
That's,
So
that's
I
not
mean,
what I'm
while they
asking you. That's not
can,
what I'm asking you. I know. I asked you if they'd be justified in doing so.
no. But
Okay, they wouldn't be
I mean,
justified in doing so. So you think that their intuition is unreliable?
Would
How
they
do
be
you-
justified in doing so?
So you think that some intuitions are unreliable, correct?
some positions, some
No.
are
I'm just
terrible
asking you.
ones.
Can we agree that some intuitions are unreliable?
I think we've already gone over that.
So then how do you know that your intuition about the morality of abortion is reliable?
Because that's most people's.
Just on the value set that I operate on.
But we just
Yeah,
did
but
the
who
drill down.
makes you the arbiter?
Well, I mean, Santana, we just did the drill down on
Who
his
makes
value
anybody
set.
an arbiter?
But remember, Santana, he reduced his value set down to his own intuition. So now that I'm asking him why he finds his intuition to be reliable, he's just once again appealing back to the value set that he justified predicated on his intuition. So in other words, you're saying that you
Are we circling
believe-
back? Are we
So in other
circling
words, you have a
back?
circular argument. You're saying that your intuition is reliable because you
Oh, I
intuit that
beat
it's
you to it.
reliable. You have a circular argument.
And if there wasn't the case that most
accept that
people agree that abortion is wrong, Donald Trump wouldn't be president.
I'm gonna start like to the
My speaker doesn't work on my phone. I'm the best I can do. I'm serious.
Do you have like
It's a
But
brand
then again,
headphones?
Donald
No.
Trump is still a pedophile.
You're good.
Sitting next to us, you can put it in the shop.
So seven.
Or
So
predator,
seven in the,
he's
seven in
both,
the
dude.
chamber,
Like,
or
let's
7 in the. I don't know what you call it.
get rid of him.
And the barrel that holds the shells, and then one in the chamber. And
See,
the
it's
reason
okay to
why
have
that's going to be
mixed
more effective for a
feelings
home defense scenario than
about
a
certain
rifle that
things.
carries 20 bullets is because
Like
typically
me,
in a home
I
defense
think the man
scenario,
should be out of
with a
office
shotgun,
because he
you only
is
need
a
to shoot
predator.
once. And honestly,
Yeah.
if you need to shoot more than once in a home defense scenario with a
But-
shotgun, you're probably dead. You might be able to live if it takes you 2 shots. 3 shots, you're most likely dead. But I mean, as soon as
don't really know
you
what else
let
to
off
say
like
about that,
5
you
to 7 shots with that shotgun, that means you're really missing, and you've given ample opportunity to your home invader to shoot you and kill you. But the reason why the long barrel rifle is really suboptimal in those home defense scenarios is just because of its long barrel. It's harder to pivot around corners to set up maybe a position in your bedroom on the bed. And not to mention that the blast radius of, say, birdshot, for instance, is going to be much wider than, a 300 blackout, a 5.56.
What if 3 people invade your home?
If 3 people invade your home, you might still be better off with a short barrel 12 gauge for the same reason that the radius is larger. You shoot once, they're actually more likely just to turn around and run straight out your door. But, I mean, in that scenario, if you want something that could rattle off shots a little bit faster, that's where I would personally recommend a handgun, some other type of PDW, or even like an SBR, which is a short-barreled rifle.
The problem with outlawing or certain guns is it'll never stop. They'll eventually want to take your handgun away from you.
I disagree with you. Swiss cheese, I appreciate you for the galaxy. I understand why you say that, because states just progressively keep passing more and more and more and more gun legislation they have for a very long time, starting like big time with the NFA. But see, the thing is that's because we have to go in chunks, or else the people won't support it. Like if in the 70s, they banned like maybe 25 million in America.
That's a lot of killing right there.
Yeah, that's a lot of
killing.
dead fetuses and happy women. I love it.
It's a lot of killing. They
I'm
shouldn't
totally
get
fine
pregnant. They shouldn't get pregnant to begin with. Then
Okay,
I
all right.
agree.
And
Dean,
I agree.
Dean,
And
come on, Dean.
That's why. You know what? You know
Okay.
what? That's why. You
Yeah.
know what? You know what? Santana, tell him why that is. Tell him why that is.
Oh
Santana.
my! I'm so glad that you said that. Listen, I have an idea. You and I could actually change the world together. We could actually march down 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and sell this to the President of the United States of America. Now, just to verify with you, would you accept like a nationwide abortion ban?
I like Trump's way of leaving it up to the states.
Well, let's just say if they made it, if they just said, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to vote. They just put it in place and say, no more abortions. We're going to make sure that we protect the babies. Would you be like, yep, I like it?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Okay, perfect. And would you give any type of exceptions, life of mother, incest, right?
I would give it. I definitely all the exceptions. I would be okay with
Okay.
that.
Perfect. And would you be willing to enforce that to the fullest extent of the law? Let's say, like, if there's a fine that comes with it, or whatever the law says, if they break the law, you do the crime, you got to do the time. Are you good with that?
Well, I mean, not really. I mean, towards
So
the
then what's
doctors,
the
or the
point?
people that are doing the abortions, the ones that are making money off of it, I would
Wait,
definitely.
so you want people to break the law but not be punished for committing
No,
crimes?
of course I don't want them to break the law. I want them to get to not have abortions.
Okay.
So
All right, and look,
you
that's
don't
fine.
punish them
With
for it,
abortions, do you
they're
feel
gonna
like
have an abortion.
your biggest thing is saving as many lives as possible? Is that right?
Giving them a chance that we have us three.
Perfect. I have a solution. You ready for it?
Yeah,
Mandatory vasectomies.
I'm okay with that too.
You good with mandatory vasectomies?
Well,
What?
not mandatory, but I mean,
now
No,
they're
no,
just
no,
trying to
no,
kill
mandatory
the dude.
vasectomies.
Democrats just want
nah,
to
I mean,
kill.
that's stupid.
They just
Let me sell
want
you
to
on it.
kill
They're safe,
everybody, bro.
effective,
What are you
efficient,
talking
and
about,
they're,
dude?
so quick. Hey, what's your favorite thing to do? Do you like hunting?
Mandatory
Did you
vasectomies
know
means
that you can
we're
get a
all
vasectomy
gonna
today and be
die.
hunting by this weekend?
Yeah,
It's a quick outpatient procedure. It's cheaper than
Dude.
an abortion. It's more effective than any form of birth control, which includes the shot, the pill, or an
not-
IUD.
dude.
It's reversible and typical up to 5 years, depending on the person. And then after that, it slightly starts to decrease depending on the person. And you can even freeze your sperm prior to the vasectomy. So if we instituted mandatory vasectomies, then we would no longer have to worry about abortions because, hey, Foster, hey, women, right? Women. Yeah, women. Listen, let's not even worry about those.
man. I'm not like that at all.
Let's not worry about those pesky women. Let's deal with the men, right? If we do this and institute
That's
this, we can take
stupid,
care of
dude.
the root cause of the issue, which is the men, and we don't even have to worry about abortions. I got you with that, right?
The men is the root
Nope.
cause of the
You're
problem, not
totally
the
wrong
women.
on this whole concept here.
Why
that are
not?
getting
The problem with your
pregnant.
concept is you can't mandate
What?
any type of surgery for anybody. And
Wait.
surgery.
But you said you would be good with a nationwide abortion ban. So you're mandating that women don't have access to bodily autonomy?
I said statewide.
I said, would you be good with the nationwide abortion ban if they passed it? Would you be okay? And you said, yeah.
Man, I didn't mean to say it. Like
That's
that.
not
I was,
forcing
that's
them
my
to
bad.
get
I meant
abortions, to
leave it up
get
to
a
the state.
surgery.
Like,
That's
do what Trump says. Leave it
telling
up to the
them they
states,
can't
each individual state.
do.
Well, so are you effectively
they
saying
can't get
that you're
abortion.
good with killing babies in some states but not in other states?
No, I'm not. I don't want any of it done, but it should go back to the states. The government shouldn't. The federal government shouldn't mandate anything.
Okay,
Why
but
should state governments?
yeah, that's what I was just about to say. So the state governments can mandate babies dying.
If I had my choice, I would have no abortions.
Okay, that's what I said. So mandatory vasectomies, right?
No, that's not the same as.
Dude,
He's-
just think
no.
about the babies. Okay,
Exactly.
think about the babies. Think about the
Exactly.
babies, dude.
Hey,
I understand
you know,
this would be
the wa-
painful.
the way nature set. The way
I
nature set up
understand
is
that this would hurt. But if we did this, we'd be saving millions of children.
Millions.
Millions. Stop.
Million.
You are
No,
so
you wouldn't be
selfish.
safe.
You are
you know
so
how many-
Bro,
selfish.
there would be no.
Do you know how many
children.
sperm are in each load? And that is a technical term. The term is a load. Do you know how many sperm exist in that?
millions,
Yeah. And we could be
Trillions.
saving all of them.
and y'all were the fastest
You're not
fastest
safe, dude.
ones. That's
They're
what's
so
funny about the
They're
whole
so
thing.
stupid. Dude.
Yeah.
They're not.
So you could get on
They
board
did-
with
they-
mandatory
Y'all made
vasectomies,
it
right?
through.
They debate idiots so that the
What's that?
points that they.
You can get on board with mandatory
They-
vasectomies, right?
No, because you shouldn't have to. That'd be like forcing a woman to have an
These
abortion.
points that they bring up,
Or
just don't
forcing
make
her to keep a
sense.
child when she wants an
They
abortion.
don't make sense, dude.
Listen, I think you just got it. So, Foster, here's what I'll recommend then. If you and I can agree on mandatory vasectomies or a nationwide abortion ban, how about we just let people do whatever the fuck they want? How about we leave it up to women to make the decisions with their bodies?
And that's the
And then you
liberal-
and I,
That's how
decisions.
liberals think.
Foster, is it just
Everybody
about?
should be able to do whatever they want.
No,
It,
The
it
government
sounds like
shouldn't be
it.
telling us
You
what to
take
do.
your
It should
time,
be
and I
anarchy.
could go talk to your
It should
mama
be
and say,
anarchy,
you know, that's some real-
and
if she would have
everybody
all
should
these
be able to
intellectual
do
intuition
whatever they
that I
want.
have
That's why you
Is it
see in all the
representative of the
democratic
claim that therefore
cities.
women should have an obligation to maintain pregnancy? If
It's
I
high
were to
crime.
donate you my kidney because you needed it to you,
Okay.
chose to due to the fact stupid if you happen
Because
to
they
disagree
want
with
you
him,
to do
or alternatively, you
whatever
don't
That
see
may
the
be.
point.
That
want,
may
so
be.
you
That
can
may be.
vote
Like
for
you
That
just
may
don't see the point.
All right. Iran.
Okay. Yeah, Trump's sworn to run
Would
is
you run
terrible.
to?
What's that? Oh yeah, I ran away. Yeah, y'all schooled me on that one. I'm walking my dog right now. So, Iran. I agree with that. Trump should have gone in. He had the opportunity to
Why
take
should he have
out a
gone
whole lot. Because you can't let Iran get a nuclear weapon.
Okay, so then Trump shouldn't be president because he let them get a nuclear weapon.
No, where
Yep.
I would have what I would have done different in Trump. Once I did all I did those nights, and I'd have pulled my whole military, Navy, everything out of the Strait of Hormuz. I'd have just left. I wouldn't even told nobody. I'd have said, "All right, boys, let's go home."
No, listen. No, listen. If you don't think that Iran should have a nuclear weapon, you would think that Donald Trump is one of the worst presidents of modern American history because he gave them the green light to construct a nuclear weapon in his first term when he terminated Obama's JCPOA agreement, which prevented Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. He said, I'm going to tear this agreement up because it has Obama's signature on it. I don't give a fuck. That greenlit Iran to start constructing nuclear warheads. That was his move.
Why were they putting everything underground if they were just going to not have a nuclear weapon?
Why are they putting their facilities underground? So in case something like goes drastically wrong and there's a major explosion, radioactive particulates don't like cloud the skies and rain down on cities. Most
that's
like
a common
nuclear production
practice.
facilities are underground. Yeah.
Yep.
Oakwood, Tennessee wasn't underground.
I know. That's why I said most. I don't think that Tennessee cares too much about y'all Tennesseans getting those radioactive materials in your brain.
Let me ask you a question about if Iran did get a nuclear weapon. Now we know they're not going to, put it on a missile and fire it into Washington, because that would be like a bad thing for everybody. But what if Iran stuck one into New York Harbor or somewhere like that?
Listen, my point is that I agree that Iran shouldn't have nuclear weapons. Okay, but the right way to prevent Iran from having nuclear weapons is to negotiate with them. Obama has not. And then on Super Chat, P. I have.
To directly connect the United States military, extend the.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
I'll take a look into that when I'm off live. Victoria, thank you for your debates, and it would be devastating to Murray. 6 years annoying to me, and I'm only or will he resist one last time? And then Alex, I appreciate you for the $20. Okay, $50.
$5 donation. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and Megan, thank you so much for the one.
For
Keep
immigration, I will say that
You keep cutting out.
Hello. Oh, hold on, let me see. Is that a little bit better?
I think so.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we miss kind of large chunks of what you were saying.
No. Oh gosh. Okay, I'll see if I can hopefully keep a steady connection here. I used to be on the left. I'm a detransitioner. I radically had a giant change within my belief system as I grew older. And when I say detransition, I mean like from 2008 to like 2022. This is a recent change, okay?
Oh,
But
you mean
my
like
three biggest
politically,
issues.
like politically detransition.
Politically.
Okay.
Oh no. I mean, actually detransition, like a detransitioner. I was deep in that lifestyle for real. But my three biggest things, and I'm a hobbyist debater. I hope to be as articulate as you one day with my opinions here. But my three biggest things: immigration, the LGBT, ABCD, EFG community. Sorry, no offense, y'all. I still have a lot of friends there. And I'd say the economy loosely. I am married into a family of immigrants, and without saying my title, for the preservation of my family, I do work in an area that involves immigration. So I do see things that without giving proprietary information, that the public doesn't ordinarily see. So there are a couple things I did want to talk about. But if there's topics that you're just too burnt out with today, please let me know.
Dude, so we're at 4 hours. This is usually where I'd be ending my live stream. But I gotta talk to you. So where do you want to start? What's the biggest reason why you support Trump?
Goodness gracious. I'll say maybe the preservation of the American citizens, thing to do with the security of the nation. Immigration is kind of one of my talking points I like to go into with some friends of mine. I just powwow on TikTok. But
Okay.
and my degree, I studied linguistics and education. When I was so far on the left, I wanted to study English as a second language, teach people coming into the country for the first time so they can have access to better resources, housing, study. I'm from Southern California originally. I moved to Texas. Thank God I'm reformed. But one of my groups I used to work with, we lost funding because the people that are coming to our programs for the English no longer an incentive for the immigrants coming to learn English because they were getting all the resources they wanted through community funding and other programs. Oh, I'm so
Cogent
sorry,
to respond to.
I apologize. So 2 sentences. Immersification from immigrants and security. I'll start with security. Yeah, like
Wait, what do you mean immersification?
I guess loosely assimilation is a better word to say it. Like,
Wait, that they don't assimilate or they are?
From what I've seen, and being in Southern California, I recently moved back from Culver City, if you know where that area is. I had to step over homeless people and get over to people that are living on the streets and immigrated over here. Not all of them get the life that they wanted when they come over here. And I hated seeing that. I'm like, why is that? I had to deep dive into that. A lot of them, either they're living in a family of like 10 people in a household, which economically kind of makes sense, not gonna lie. I mean, maybe that's cultural. And other parts is, yeah, I see you on the streets or committing crimes, which I see on a daily basis with my job. And again, I don't want to see too much of what I do.
I don't know if we're gonna be able to have a super fleshed out conversation because, no offense, you like to talk a lot. Don't worry, I do too.
Sorry.
No, I do too. I like to talk so much; it's my full-time job. But like I said, we're at 4 hours already. I'll probably only have another 10, 15 minutes at most. So I'm probably gonna end up inviting you back another day.
And I shot you a text.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I am in favor of ICE. I will say loosely, not based on what's happening on the news.
For Law and Life is in like the Department of DHS as a whole, 4th and 14th job, and they've prevented it half been a wrong. The first point that you said is that they don't assimilate as it would relate to crime. They act citizens relate to identifying and deporting those that actually should be.
Yeah, so as you can see, to your point, obviously as a whole majority, I'm not going to lump everyone in that same category. I'll say maybe it's a pretty sizable percentage. Way you want to be under the radar as much as possible. However, and I don't want to give out too much what I do because I love the safety of my family and my friends. This is what's in my private sector company. Some of them are petty crimes, some of them are no additional crime, plus an aggressive crime, illegal entry.
Well, I mean, then you like probably work with like, you don't have to affirm or deny anything that I say, like a private detainment, a private detention center that ICE operates out, the ICE operates out of. That's at least what I would assume that you do. Okay, well, this means that you probably specifically house and transport detainees from ICE that they've put on like the ultra bad list of those that have bad crimes on their records. Election bias.
Yeah, are you saying that you have more exposure due to your job? And do you think that that has shifted your line of sight of positioning as far as undocumented? Yeah.
Please, yeah, I am not ICE. I have no ties to ICE. I don't know any of the agents. Please,
Truly don't.
No, I don't have anything to do with ICE. Okay, look, don't worry about that. I'm willing to concede that point as well.
Mm-hmm.
Confirmation bias.
To really go into much substance. I really want to talk to you. I'd also like to talk to you as maybe the first guest of the stream, so I'm not as tired. You know, after 8 people in here, and then when we end the stream, right now we have like 20 DNC Dean account, just so I could shoot you a message on there when I go live. I really want to talk to her.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah.
Cassidy,
For sure. Figured out the whole time, but yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for. Well, I appreciate you, but they say, hey, Dean, I'm a current Trump supporter, and I think you make some decent points, but it's genuinely brain melting to hear some of the people you've been picking. I'd love to have a real debate with you.
It's who gets up here.
Yeah, we could do that. I'd do that. I'd love to do that.
I think it's always funny. Like people hear this and it's like, "Oh, this can't be real." No, these are the people. Like this is your representation, MAGA.
Yeah. By the way, I've seen a couple people in the comment section asking me this a lot recently about if I debate leftists or to debate a leftist. Well, I debate people that I could hopefully get voting for like people on the left in elections. That's who I like to debate. Because the purpose and the point of my live stream isn't just entertainment. The purpose and the point of my live stream is actually like galvanizing a voter base to ensure that progressive politicians will win the midterms and hopefully win the next presidential election. So, like, for instance, debating a leftist on the unique complexities where maybe I may disagree with communism or where I don't disagree with communism, that doesn't really like influence any material outcome of people voting that would have otherwise voted. I mean, I'd debate a leftist that doesn't vote. I'd debate a leftist that, because of their convictions, abstains from the two-party system. I'd debate a leftist that would vote third party. I'd debate leftists on those subjects. I would do that.
You've literally done it.
I've done it a lot, yeah.
Speaking of which, I meant to ask you, my commie friend who was like excited when you came up to debate the guy on like capitalism and socialism, they want to know if they could use that clip as a breakdown.
Really?
Yeah. Like
Damn,
that's how much they enjoyed it.
Damn.
They want to actually use it as like, see? So
yeah,
I said I would check with you and see if you would be good with it.
Yeah, that's fine. For those that aren't in the loop, the other day, somebody was on Santana's stream debating against socialism. And, like, I'm not a socialist, but I did think that this particular thing they were critiquing about socialism actually wasn't bad and made a lot of sense, and they were just totally wrong. So I joined up and explained to them why they're wrong, and apparently I'm getting some good credit for it within leftist communities.
You impress the commies.
I like that. I like that. Listen. I think that we are seeing this continual progression of more division on the left. We are seeing large ideologues and even followers of those ideologues that happen to ideologically agree with them, like creating these major schisms between leftists, progressive liberals, and establishment liberals. Listen, I think that progressive liberals and leftists need to come together, okay? And it is time for us to work as one, okay? Yeah. And what I mean by that is it's time for us to beat the right and push the left further left and weed out the establishment liberals that are helping and enabling the destruction of this country, okay? Yep. Like, we need to work together on that, and we can work together on that. But instead, I just see so many leftists on my For You. Like, I saw this post earlier today. It had like 10,000 likes. It was posted by a communist, and it was like, oh, Dean Withers is pro-Israel. No, I'm actually not pro-Israel. I'm anti-Israel, okay? Like, instead of, like, lying about me to attempt to convince people that they shouldn't like me like you do, maybe we could actually work together and build a larger coalition that extends beyond, like your leftist beliefs or your progressive liberals beliefs, and do something in the midterms. There's a soft middle here. There's a soft middle between progressive liberals and leftists. The soft middle between progressive liberals and leftists is destroying the DNC establishment and advocating for social democrats and even some democratic socialists. All right? Yeah. That's the soft middle. It is. It inevitably is. That's something that we could agree on. Many, and I mean many leftists will acknowledge in their lifetime, the furthest end goal that we'd ever be able to materially or tangibly achieve is social democracy or democratic socialism. One of the two things. All right? But we could work together on that because there are so many respects of democratic socialism that I absolutely agree with. So many respects of it. It's time to beat the divide.
I think the like string you have to keep tugging on is come together to pull more people left. Like, that's the key.
Right.
You focus on that, you got it.
Right.
Like that the people who are like further. Oh, I don't know if you saw Parker's live earlier, but apparently you're like a crazy extreme leftist. Like apparently you're like way more extreme than Parker. The guy was like, yeah, Dean, he's like insanely extreme left. Anyway, like keep tugging on the pulling people left, and you like that's how you get it.
Yeah. I think that me and Parker are almost perfectly ideologically aligned.
That's
with
what
one
Parker
another.
said, but the guy was like, no, Dean's he's a crazy leftist.
I will say, and maybe I just need to talk to Parker about this. I have been a little bit more open-minded to democratic socialism, though. Mm-hmm. Like, what's so bad with the government controlling a couple like key industries? Maybe it should. But like, I don't know. Like, it's something I'm just looking into, something I'm reading about. I
think the thing is, and my wife and I we talk about you guys, we talk about everybody, but the thing about you is like how it seems like you're always seeking knowledge, and the more you learn, the more things kind of shift, and it seems like you've been learning more, and you can tell from the things that you've been saying. I think that's more so what it is.
Yeah, that's a goal. But like regardless, oh, Joy with the $5 says, "I'm a communist. I watch your debates every day. I respect you, and while I disagree with you on some points, leftists and libs should work together."
A lot of them do. I'm telling you.
I think that there's a lot of liberals, okay, who kind of like maintain this superiority complex over leftists, and will like identify one person that's like, I don't know, defending the DPRK or arguing that Stalin is king, and they'll then therefore be like, oh, like all leftists are like fucking crazy. Like, no, not all leftists defend the DPRK and think that Stalin is king. Okay. In the same way, there's also a lot of leftists who say, oh, well, if you don't agree with everything that I say, I'm superior to you. And guess what? I'm going to call you pro-Israel for the love of the game. And, you're going to be a target of the revolution and we might kill you in the process. Okay? But I don't think that those people are representative of the majority of leftists and the majority of liberals. I think that there are a shit ton of liberals, okay, who can acknowledge that the establishment has failed this country, can acknowledge that we shouldn't be sending money to Israel, can acknowledge that we shouldn't be funding genocide, can acknowledge that we need better social safety nets for Americans, and that the goal should be affordability and a reduction in poverty, a reduction in crime as an extension of poverty, and many other things. And we could really work together. We could really work together there.
I think there's a pretty good middle section, and I think that sometimes it's just the loudest voices, of course, get all the spotlight instead of the people that have a lot of that overlap. So
yeah, so true. Sorry guys, I was yapping there for a while. It's probably time for me to end my stream.
Like his ideals are too fantastic.
I think
thanks for having me up, bro.
Thank you for joining.
See ya.
I think I have 4 people to thank, then we're going to hop off. Rachel, thank you for the $50 over on Super Chat, who says, "Hey, Dean, it's me from Singapore again. This time there was a post of a man taking photos of a girl secretly, and while the news was posted on IG, a majority of men were defending the guy, saying that it wasn't wrong to take photos of women in public if they showed it." Yeah, well, it's definitely wrong in many scenarios, Rachel. That's weird as fuck. I appreciate you for the $50. Same thing to you, Winter, with the $20, who says, "Hey, Dean, thank you for everything that you do. Both of my bio parents were abusive Trump supporters, and after I was removed from their home, your videos and lives have helped me think for myself." Oh, I'm so happy that the live streams have been able to help you out, Winter. As well as Colleen, thank you so much for the $30, who says, "Haven't been on in a while. Thank you for continuing the fight." Well, I try my best, Colleen. Good to see you again, and thank you for the $30. And one more here. Over on YouTube Super Chat from PJ. I think that we can all work together. If I was to come on the show, I would want it like the 5 Fox or Fox 5. We have different views, but we respect each other, and a good conversation that could be weekly fun time yet educational, just my thought. Well, listen, man, I treat people the way they treat me and the way they treat others. At the end of the day, I have many dialogues where I'm able to be patient and try to be respectful, and other dialogues where I tell people I think that they'd be better off in hell. But if you want to have a conversation with me about why you support Trump, just like all other Trump supporters, you are invited to join the show. For everybody watching, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream for the night here. Thank you so much for showing up. Hit that follow button on TikTok. Drop a sub on YouTube. I'll see you all tomorrow as per usual. Peace, love, good night, and goodbye.
All right. That was shit. But that's Deanie Tha Meanie. Now let's watch something else. How about the explosive diarrhea update?
Can you hear my toilet filling up right now? Yeah, so I did just use the commode there, and I did take a shit. It was not diarrhea, which means so far still clear of cyclospora, at least that I know of. It does take up to 2 weeks to start having your asshole be blown out, so we'll see. But the reason I mention that is because I want to give you the update on where things are at with this, with the diarrhea epidemic that's sweeping the nation here harder than the fucking Harlem Shake. And also, because this has been a crazy little adventure, because it was not long ago where the FDA came out and they seem to have pinpointed where it was coming from, Taylor Farms, which supplies like Taco Bell, stuff like that. And get a load of this, sports fans. I actually decided, oh, okay, well then it's probably safe to eat like lettuce and fruits from somewhere that's not Taco Bell then, as everything gets sorted out here, as I, really grab on there and get it by the titties there and get this under control. So, yesterday, I not only got myself some fresh fruit for breakfast, later that day, I got myself a chicken Caesar wrap. I fucking splurged. I thought it was safe. And now I have egg on my face because today it came forward, or the FDA came forward and said, nope, it was a false positive. Under very peculiar circumstances, by the way, that I really want to dive into here, but I guess now it's back to square one of not knowing exactly where the Cyclospora outbreak is coming from, the genesis here of the Cyclospora and the Cyclosporiasis outbreak. So now there's a good chance I just lose my whole asshole here. I got egg on my face. But the reason I mention that is because I want to give you the update on where things are at with this, with the diarrhea epidemic that's sweeping the nation here harder than the fucking Harlem Shake. And also, because this has been a crazy little adventure, because it was not long ago where the FDA came out and they seem to have pinpointed where it was coming from, Taylor Farms, which supplies like Taco Bell, stuff like that. And get a load of this, sports fans. I actually decided, oh, okay, well then it's probably safe to eat like lettuce and fruits from somewhere that's not Taco Bell then, as everything gets sorted out here, as I, really grab on there and get it by the titties there and get this under control. So, yesterday, I not only got myself some fresh fruit for breakfast, later that day, I got myself a chicken Caesar wrap. I fucking splurged. I thought it was safe. And now I have egg on my face because today it came forward, or the FDA came forward and said, nope, it was a false positive. Under very peculiar circumstances, by the way, that I really want to dive into here, but I guess now it's back to square one of not knowing exactly where the Cyclospora outbreak is coming from, the genesis here of the Cyclospora and the Cyclosporiasis outbreak. So now there's a good chance I just lose my whole asshole here. I got egg on my face. It's crazy because I just assumed that, if the FDA has said this, then I can't imagine that they're just wrong or lying or just got it real fucked up, right? But now it's all thrown into turmoil here. It's all cattywampus. So I want to give you a little update because maybe a lot of you saw that, they pinpointed it to lettuce at Taylor Farms. So maybe, like me, you decided, okay, well, then I'll just avoid like Taco Bell lettuce and stuff and probably be safe to resume like normal dietary activities. Well, guess not. Or maybe there's some fishiness afoot.
An apparent reversal by the FDA, Taylor Farms says the FDA apologized and is walking back its claim that it found traces of the parasite Cyclospora on a sample of its lettuce. There have been thousands of illnesses across the country, the outbreaks, you've heard of them, of explosive diarrhea. A source tells CNN that funding cuts by the administrations created a perfect storm. CNN medical correspondent Meg Terrell is here with all
found it on a sample, not multiple samples. Oh, come on.
Details here. So
yeah, perfect shitstorm. It's something that we've talked about. It's something everyone's talked about. It is no secret that there have been huge cuts to programs that are literally specifically designed to combat things like this, such as monitoring, tracking, and finding like the source of things, and they have been just fucking gutted. And that's not just phony baloney nonsense to put the fear of God in you. It is just a verifiable fact. So in this article here, they're talking about how the chances that this could get even worse and messier is on the table. The Trump administration's FDA and USDA have lost tens of thousands of workers last year amidst the budget cuts. A food surveillance program called FoodNet, which I talked about in the last video covering this, that monitored 8 common foodborne pathogens, is now no longer required to keep tabs on Cyclospora parasite. The protagonist here, the star of the show here, of the soap opera that we're in right now, the explosive diarrhea outbreak. A team responsible for identifying parasitic outbreaks across the U.S. was cut from 11 people to just 3 in September. So they have completely just fucking spanked these programs that are just designed to try and monitor outbreaks and parasites like this. And there have been just a lot looser regulations, in no small part thanks to these companies that are being very generous with donations, including Taylor Farms themselves. They did a nice $1 million donation in March, which we're going to talk about in a moment, all because that helps them. They get to reap the benefits of that while just fucking poisoning the country here with no ramifications, no repercussions. It's a fucking disaster. This is a bigger shit show than anything coming out of our asses. It is so, like, it'd be like comical if this unfolded in a movie or something, because it's so over the top that it'd be unbelievable. But this is just the reality of things right now. It's crazy.
We thought we knew where this was from, but now not so much?
Well, so the FDA announcement over the weekend caused a little bit of confusion. And so essentially they had said that they had this positive test result of cyclospora, and it was on a sample that actually hadn't been included in this recall. And so now they're saying that's a false positive. Taylor Farms is saying that the FDA apologized about that, but it doesn't actually change the fact that this recall still stands. The traceback still stands to the lettuce that people ate at Taco Bell and this broader recall. And so Taylor Farms has recalled this lettuce from central Mexico, this iceberg lettuce.
So here's the most important part, and I'll drop the sarcasm. I don't actually think I'm going to, fucking shit my soul out of my butt anytime soon. They are still recalling all of the lettuce. They have very clearly, strongly linked through the epidemiological research here that the source, or one of the main vectors here for the cyclospora outbreak, comes from this lettuce from Taylor Farms at Taco Bell specifically. Hats off to Taco Bell, man. Like, Taco Bell is to diarrhea what Babe Ruth was to baseball. Like, when you think diarrhea, you picture Taco Bell, which is crazy because, like, their food is good. Like, I think they've had a huge turnaround in, like, the quality of their food. But still, no matter what, the universe finds a way to bring diarrhea back to the table when it comes to the Taco Bell conversation. It's incredible. But now what this means is that they apparently don't actually know the source of the cyclospora illness outbreak. It is still a complete mystery, a conundrum. The agency reviewed the results and said in a statement, it concluded that the finding does not represent true amplification and should be considered a false positive. They also clarified that this false positive lab sample does not change the basis for FDA's ongoing outbreak investigation or the overwhelming epidemiological data supporting the current voluntary recall by Taylor Farms. They also advised to just do your best to avoid, like, the iceberg lettuce and stuff from Taco Bell. So they're still doing this recall of the lettuce, but they're saying now that there was a false positive on cyclospora being there. Okay, so then we don't know where it's coming from. We don't actually know where the cyclospora menace hails from. Well, then that's concerning, right? Because that means you could still contract it even if you avoid all Taylor Farms lettuce and all of that. But realistically, I don't think that's actually the case. I think given the strong link here, and from everything I've read, how unusual it is for the FDA to say, to walk something like this back, that it's a false positive, it seems to me like it's more likely something else that has led to them apologizing to Taylor Farms and walking this back, yet keeping the voluntary recall in place as a good idea, as a precaution, and advising you to still avoid it. It feels very odd. Very, very odd. So I think it probably is the Taylor Farms lettuce that had the main, vehicle here for cyclospora entering the system. Yet they are now publicly having to say, no, Taylor Farms didn't present with cyclosporus in the lettuce, actually. False positive. But really, don't eat it. Just whatever you do, try and avoid it. Now, something that maybe muddies the waters a little bit is something I briefly made a mention of, that the headlines are really diving deep into. A lot of outlets are talking about. Taylor Farms made a huge donation to Trump Group after loosening rules that could have prevented explosive diarrhea outbreak. This is something that happened quite a while ago. They made a $1 million donation to Trump Super PAC MAGA Inc. on March 26th of 2025. 6 days after the FDA announced it was pushing back the implementation of its food traceability rule by 30 months. The rule, which was originally meant to go into effect on January 20th of this year, would have established traceability record-keeping requirements beyond those in existing regulations for persons who manufacture, process, pack, or hold foods. This is according to the regulator's website, which according to the FDA would have meant for faster identification and removal of potentially contaminated food from the market, resulting in fewer foodborne illnesses and deaths. So the agency's decision to move back the compliance date raised eyebrows. Congress even doubled down earlier this year, forbidding any funds to be appropriated to enforce the food traceability rule before July 20th, 2028. And that should help you go to sleep soundly, knowing that hey, they're looking out for you, man. They want to make sure that we're not looking at shit, so maybe you do just have explosive diarrhea forever. They're kicking that can down the road as much as they can, and companies like Taylor Farms are willingly donating to them, donating $1 million last year for things like this, seemingly. It's just so foul. It's just so foul. Making money off keeping you sick or doing things that potentially put your health at risk, even if they're not intentionally making you sick every step of the way. The loosening of all of this and the complete gutting of these kind of programs lets them just fucking run wild. Hulkmania going wild over there. It just sucks. It super sucks.
Where do things stand, though? I think what everyone wants to know is this thing coming for me?
Right.
Where, like, is it still spreading?
So we don't believe so. What we know right now is that there have been more than 7,000 cases that have been either confirmed or are under investigation, most of them concentrated here in this 5-state outbreak, and Michigan really having more than 5,000 cases. But 34 states have reported cases of cyclosporiasis. Some of those are under separate investigations. These are not necessarily all linked to one another. Of course, we mentioned that false positive, the FDA saying now that there are no confirmed positive sample results. That doesn't mean that this investigation, though, has changed in terms of what the recall affects.
Her response to that question I found to be pretty interesting about, is it still out there? Is it spreading? Do we have to worry about cyclospora getting us? Trick or treats, we open the door and then bang, cursed with cyclosporiasis, that kind of thing. And she says no, that they don't believe that it's still going to continue spreading. Goes on to list separate cases outside of like the main hub there that are under separate investigations. And she also mentions other places that recalled lettuce like Walmart, Jack in the Box, stuff like that. I do find it interesting, though, because, well, if the FDA's false positive claim here, it now indicates they don't know where it comes from, well, how can we be certain that it's not going to continue spreading? I feel like the obvious answer here is, based on everything presented, Taylor Farms lettuce, definitely big culprit here for the cyclospora. I find it very odd that the FDA has now had to walk back and apologize. It's claiming that it's a false positive on cyclospora, yet they keep the voluntary recall in effect and strongly advise you to avoid anything supplied with Taylor Farms lettuce. To me, it feels like maybe this is some kind of like corruption thing where like they don't want the bad PR associating Taylor Farms with cyclospora. So now the FDA's been pressured to just say like, oh, no, we got that wrong. Oh, geez, what a mistake from us there. They're totally innocent. But yeah, that recall, that's going to stay in effect. Just out of abundance of caution, and definitely avoid it. Like really, you should definitely avoid it. It's so weird. Like I do think it probably will slow down now with these recalls in effect, but I don't understand this false positive from the FDA. What a fucking disaster here.
Taylor Farms, of course, saying that the FDA apologized about that. Now, Walmart has said over the weekend that it was recalling these potentially affected, though they haven't tied them to any illnesses, products. Iceberg salad, shredded lettuce from the Market Side brand. And it's important to note these use-by dates up to August 3rd. So folks should check. If they've bought any iceberg lettuce under this brand, check your fridges, make sure you don't use it, toss it out. This is what that Market Side brand looks like. But more broadly, of course, this has really been tied to Taco Bell, which said it's recalled those products. They should not be in stores anymore. Jack in the Box said it also had recalled some of those products, made sure that they were replaced by a different supplier, as well as these other brands.
So lettuce is back off the menu. Not that it was ever a huge part of the things I eat, but I do love myself a good chicken Caesar wrap occasionally. And I celebrated it yesterday with a little chicken Caesar wrap. Maybe that was a bit...
All right, chat.